Welcome back. We are talking on business research lab, and on this topic of reliability, we'll be attempting question number 2 and question 3, which have been given an assignment to you. Now, coming to question number 2, we can read the question first. We have an an SPSS file already available with you. So the question is, the responses of 30 people on a 10-item measure of resilience are provided in the file exercise 4.2.SAV. The variables are named resilience 1 to resilience 10, respectively. The range of possible responses on each items is from 1 strongly disagree to 7 strongly agree, with higher scores indicating greater resilience. You have to open the SPSS file and perform the appropriate analysis to answer the questions below. So A, what is the reliability crowned by alpha of the scale? B, how would you characterize the reliability? And C, provide a written summary of your reliability analysis. Be sure to include the overall reliability of the scale and the mean standard deviation of the total scale in your written results. So changing the file and moving to the SPSS file. I've already opened the SPSS file for you. So this is the SPSS file where already you can say the file itself provides us the 10 variables on resilience. Okay, the values though are not mentioned here, you can indicate those values because it's a 7-point scale where 1 means strongly disagree, 2 means disagree, 3 means partially disagree, 4 means neither agree nor disagree, 5 means partially agree, 6 means agree, and 7 means strongly agree. So I add on this, do OK, and here we are. And as you know, from here I'll just copy it, put the things over there, Control V, and there you are. And all these variables are in scale form that we know. So that's done. So you can look at the data view. The data view is talking about the number of participants being 30. So 30 people have answered to this question on resilience. Now coming to the analysis part, we are going for reliability analysis. So analyze, we go to something called scale reliability analysis. Click on reliability analysis. We are just selecting all 10 variables, clicking on this, clicking on stats. For descriptives, item and scale is being talked about. Continue. We go for alpha. It's already given over there. So we did not, you can say, change it. So we have got 4 types of, you can say, or 5 types of different reliability tests we can do. Alpha is something which we'll be doing commonly, as you know it. And so alpha is here. Okay, somewhat we are doing. And here the results are in front of you. So we had, you can say, I'm just moving to the result file now, the new share. So output file is there, open for you. And these are the results we are getting. So we have in all 30 cases, one person has not answered. Look, in this case, one person has not answered some of the questions, and therefore he has been excluded. Okay, and this is it. We have 10 questions in all, which have been put up here. And if you look at the cron by alpha, it's coming to very high, 0.951. Okay, these are the item stats, the item means we have got. The mean ranges from the lowest one, if you look at, if I'm finding it and I'm correct over here, is 4.6 is the lowest mean for resilience 3. And the maximum happens to be 5.3 for resilience 2. That happens to be the highest one. So it's ranging from somewhere 4.6 to 5.3. That is where you can say the mean for the 10 items on resilience are ranging from. And if you look at the total, what do you call it? The mean is 50 something, 50.3667 is the mean, and standard deviation is 13.58. So this is the answer we've got. So one thing is known, the cron by alpha is quite high. It is excellent, or maybe you can say the way the reliability is very high. It's fairly high degree of reliability at 0.951. And if you look at the range, I've already talked on that. It ranges from 4.6, that is for resilience 3, that's the minimum value, and the maximum is 5.3, that's for resilience 2. That's what the range is. And the scale talks about that overall mean comes to 50.3667 with a standard deviation of 13.58. So this way we can easily answer the question. So if I share, you can say the question for you. So here the question is, the response of 30 people on 10 item measures of resilience as provided. You can say the reliability is 0.951. B part, it is very high, and therefore it is known as, it is excellent, you can say very high reliability, or you can say excellent reliability comes up. So the data, the consistency in data in which it has been answered by these 30 people is appreciably high. And then you can write the summary. We have already discussed the summary, you can say initially in the notes itself, in exercise 1 also. So you can look at that exercise. Here you have to simply mention the cron by alpha of 0.951, which is fairly high uh, reliability. And then you can say overall reliability is given for the scales where the mean is 50 something, standard deviation is 13 something, which we have already checked with the output, which we saw just a while ago. And then maybe you can say for all the 8 items, which we have got, 10 items rather, we have got on resilience, we can look at, you can see the mean score and put that in some summary form. Done. So this way we can easily answer this question 2. And now we'll be, you can say, moving to question 3. So now the question 3 is before you, and this question 3 is not a question based on SPSS tests, or you can say SPSS, what do you call it, file, is a question basically based on your understanding of the world reliability. Here the question is, a student used 2 different scales for a research project, with one scale measuring self-confidence and the other scale measuring manual dexterity. He calculated coefficient alpha on the combined scales and found an overall reliability coefficient of 0.41. Why might the reliability be so low? So that's the question being asked. And if you look here, you have got 2 variables. One is, rather you can say, 2 different scales which are measuring self-confidence, that's number 1. And second thing is manual dexterity. Now comes the question, that is self-confidence and manual dexterity the same thing? Self-confidence, we all know, is how much faith one has on himself and herself, how much competent one feels he or she is. Definitely, you can say higher confidence or self-confidence being high will lead to, you can say, person being more, you can say, eager and keen to do things. And definitely, you can say, will be, you can say, less hesitant to do things. So self-confidence is something, you can say, which will differ from person to person based on the internal strength that person has or feels he or she has on himself or herself. Whereas if you look at the manual dexterity part, you will find manual dexterity as something which is based on skills. How much good you are with your hands to do things. So maybe you can say your skills with hands, your coordination with hands, how good you are, maybe for painting, maybe for writing, maybe for any skill related job, how good you are. And if you look at, you can say manual dexterity is defined by the number of hours, or you can say the time a person has perfected something, if a person is, you can say, skillful in one art or the other, he is a very good, you can say, in painting, or maybe you can say in some music or some form. Well, fine, that will in beating drums, or maybe you can say in playing a violin. That is then in that case, it is more of based on, you can say, the practice she or he has done. That skill will depend on, you can say, how much hard work and labor that person has done for. So if you look at these two variables of self-confidence and manual dexterity, they are two different things. Definitely, you can say self-confidence is something internal, inbuilt, which comes with how much faith a person has on herself or himself, whereas manual dexterity is something based on the practice one does on something, on some instruments for writing, or maybe for painting, or maybe for any skills he or she feels he is good at. How much pain he's taking, how much labor they are doing. So if you look at the two, you can say, scales here of self-confidence and manual dexterity, they are not similar, and therefore, if coefficient alpha comes to be, you can say 0.41, which is very poor, well, fine, it's okay. There's no problem with it, because we have taken two different scales, and these two different scales are actually quite different, not measuring the same thing. So that is the answer for question 3. I hope this topic of reliability is clear to us, and let's uh, let's, you can say, wind up. And I hope if you have any questions, we'll be talking later. Thank you then. Thank you.